91 Decode Ways. This code uses a bottom-up dynamic programming approach to solve the problem in O(n) time, where n is the length of the input string. The DP array stores the number of ways to decode a string up to a certain length, building up to the full length of the input string. This Java code defines a class named solution, which has a single public method named numDecodings. The purpose of this method is to count the number of ways a given string s can be decoded, assuming that the string represents a sequence of numbers where each number corresponds to a letter in the alphabet. 1 equals A, 2, 26 equals Z. Here's a step-by-step explanation of what's happening in the code. 1. Edge case check. The method first checks if the input string is either null, empty, or starts with 0. If any of these conditions are true, it returns 0 because there would be no valid decodings. Numbers in this encoding cannot start with 0, as 0 does not map to any letter. 2. Initialization. The method calculates the length n of the input string s. It then creates an integer array named dp with a size of n plus 1. This array will be used for dynamic programming to store the number of ways the substring up to a certain length can be decoded. 3. Base cases. The code sets dp0 equals 1, implying that an empty string has one valid way of being decoded, doing nothing. It also sets dp1, the number of ways the first character can be decoded. If the first character is 0, it gets set to 0, otherwise it's set to 1. Dynamic programming dp loop. Starting from i2 and going up to n inclusive, the code calculates the number of decodings for the substring of length I. It first extracts the last digit, oneDigit, and the last two digits, twoDigits, as integers from the string s. If oneDigit is between 1 and 9, this represents a valid single-digit encoding, and thus increases the number of decodings by the number of decodings possible up to the previous character, dp(1). If twoDigits is within 10 and 26, this represents a valid two-digit encoding, and thus increases the number of decodings by the number of decodings possible up to 2 characters before. 5. Final answer. After the DP loop, the final element in the DP array will store the total number of ways to decode the entire string s. The method returns this value. In summary, the method numDecodings uses dynamic programming to keep track of the number of valid decodings for each substring, building up to the full string. It efficiently computes the total number of ways to decode s by considering both 1- and 2-digit mappings and returns this total count.